So this is day 2 of ACTE. Really love and really jazzed about this session because how many of you have been to other topics that I talked about before? Oh, a few of you in here. Yeah, and this is something that's really near and dear to my heart because a lot of what I talk about is like current tech, and here I'm going to be talking about future tech, which is really exciting to me because future tech to me is today, you know, and what other people think of as future is very different. Because what we have actually in the classroom is actually 5-year-old tech, what we consider, or in some cases 10-year-old tech, or even older. But the beauty of technology is that, especially with the web, is that we don't have to be dependent on hardware anymore. A lot of platforms and software can be deployed instantaneously and also administered and adopted without going through this really long learning curve. So here I am. I'm here to talk about adaptive curriculum with project-based learning. As in the description, and it's here with KP Compass. I'm founder of KP Compass, and I'm here with 2 other colleagues who are founders as well. John, who you met outside of the door, so we locked him out because he's a disruptor, so we didn't like him. And then we got Sean, he's the genius behind everything. So basically our entire thing is we want to build a smarter learning system. And when we say smarter learning system, it's something that when you build something, you have to pre-craft everything because you have to put your intelligence into it and then try to make it all work. What we're trying to do is we're trying to build a system where the intelligence is actually built through experience in itself. So artificial intelligence is what it's called. So that you don't have to spend all the time pre-crafting everything. You can still put your intelligence into it, but you don't have to build all the pathways because the pathways can all be designed electronically now, and I'm going to be talking about that as we go through the presentation here. So we're KP, and KP stands for knowledge and practice, and that's a idiom that we really believe in because we want to take our knowledge and put it into practice, but you can't get to practice without knowledge, so you have to take those steps to get there. And we know all our kids here, we just want to just get right into the let's go and build a house. Well, you kind of need to know a little bit more than that, or let's go and build a construction project, or let's go into the kitchen and start cutting things up, right? So we have to take our steps into that. So the agenda here is right now we want to review the current state of education. Just kind of lay the groundwork. We know where we're at, but just kind of bring it to light. Then we're going to talk about lessons learned that we've taken over the years to develop to the point where we are in the near future of learning technology. So we kind of expound upon what we did, what we learned, what we did right, what we did wrong, just kind of just to outline that. And then we're also going to look at 5 years out because one of the things that we do is we always look 5 years ahead. And when we look 5 years ahead, it's actually 10 years ahead for everyone else. But that's what we kind of look at and predict as something that will come very near and hopefully in less than 5 years as well. So I want you to take a moment to imagine the unimaginable. Hey, Nathan. So imagine with me, you're a student and you have a person, we call a tutor, who helps you out and your learning material, gives you feedback, works with you, and then follows you through your life, from kindergarten through grade school, through middle school, all the way to college. If we had something like that in real life, wouldn't that be awesome? We have our parents, yes, but not all of them are doing that job. But, so, yeah, parents, yes, that's a great point. Yeah, yes, that should be our parent. But imagine that we had someone else who had that ability to be with us. One, you have to be really rich to be able to do that, if that were to be the real truth. But what we're trying to do is we want to create the future of education. But the future of education is actually here. So we one of the cool things is intelligent tutoring systems. They're actually out there. But one of the things that we did is we wanted to build a personal digital tutor that actually learns with you and carries with the student throughout all ages. And that's our big, lofty, crazy idea goal of what we want to do with a smarter learning system. So I want to take a moment here and find out who's here in this audience. So anybody here who are technology directors who work in IT or anything like that, just wondering if anybody here in that field? Nope, okay, good. All right, so any curriculum developers, so your primary focus is developing curriculum, professional development, anything like that, all right. Huh?
Not primary.
Not primary, but yeah. All right, classroom teachers here, raise your hands. Awesome, so we're a group of teachers here. Wonderful. Any directors here, administrators, directors, and whatnot. All right, so we got one of you. Wonderful. And any other person that I missed? Anybody else? Nope. Okay. Wonderful. So for us, what we're looking for as teachers, I'm going to speak from a teacher standpoint, is for ways to be able to reach our students in a meaningful way, and through digital technology. So I want to take a moment to kind of hear from you. What's your dream about in your classroom? Anybody have any like lofty dreams that aren't there now, other than like classroom management disruption? Like just thinking about technology. What kind of technology do you dream about that would like make your life so much easier? Anybody? Yeah, go right ahead.
To be able to present the same curriculum, but to every level of student at the same time, so that there wasn't, I'm slowing down these super advanced Zoom ahead learners and I'm trying to pick up these, come on guys, pay attention. If you could present the same curriculum and have them all get there. Yeah.
Yeah. So a super way to present differentiated instruction.
Right.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean that's wonderful. Reaching everyone at their level without having to handcraft every single oh gosh, I'm spacing on that right now.
And to get them all to
IEP.
be engaged.
Yeah.
To get them all to be engaged.
And get them all engaged at the same time. Yeah. And that's actually a solution that technology can bring. Anybody else have a dream? Yes. Oh yeah. Let's go ahead.
Well, I teach medical health occupations or health sciences, and so with some of the new TV shows that relate to medicine, you can walk in a room and pull up different views of the body or different anatomy, physiology type things, and diagnose right away. So that would be my dream.
Okay, that would be so just like a tool that can just show all the different things.
Yes.
Actually, I think there's probably software out there, but it's probably very expensive.
Yes.
So you get down to the classroom level where you could use it as a teaching tool.
Yes.
Wonderful. And you?
I feel bad about the amount of paper waste that I do in my classroom, and I'd like to get everything moved online.
All right, digitizing most aspects. We can't say all because there's still things that we need paper for, and to move forward with that. Anybody else with love? Yes.
I could piggyback off of his. I sort of went more paperless in the past few years, and that was going well. And then our school went to Chromebooks this year, which I dig and they're great, but the formatting loses a lot of things sometimes that way. And I understand that the two aren't really, Microsoft and Google aren't great friends, but it'd be nice if there was some sort of way to not have to redo everything just to make it fit the format.
Yeah, exactly. So yours is like better ways to control formatting.
Yeah, we all just get along.
yeah. Can't technology companies get along? Oh, let's look at Apple and Google, and Microsoft, and Google. Yeah, I mean they're all trying to play in the same space. So actually, competition breeds innovation. So we win some and we lose some. Let's take a moment to assess the current state of education here. And honestly, like my presentation actually is only going to be about 15-20 minutes long, where I'm just going to talk and stuff. The rest is like, I really want to engage in dialogue and conversation and find out, what your dreams are. We're going to talk about like how we see, like artificial intelligence, how we see data, and we want to get some feedback from you on that as well. And the really awesome thing is, like, as you read in the program, is we got this tool, and we're looking for people who really want to see the future in the classroom today, and to work with us to develop this tool to become the most awesome, like, teacher-friendly tool in the world. So that's our goal. So right now, the current state of education is like assessments are king. Right now, everyone's teaching to the test. You got to report all those grades, and if you don't do really well, then it could reflect bad on you. So, you know, that's the primary focus. You know, obviously we know that that's a broken system. So, okay, I just spoke that. And there hasn't been really any real change in the pedagogy in education in that particular field. It's because it's built on the 1920s model, factory model of one size fits all. You know, we're still stuck in that factory model. The assembly line is still churning out the kids in the way it's been done, and we're kind of stuck in that. So there really needs to be a drastic change. I want to talk a little bit about me, just kind of so I can set a context as to, you know, why I'm here talking this about to you. First off, you know, I was made in Taiwan. Yes, I was actually shipped here when I ripened at the age of 2. That's when all Chinese kids from Taiwan ripen. And then and I came over here. But the reason I point that out is because Chinese is my first language, and English was my second language. So I had a lot of reading problems developing here in the United States. Because of that, I couldn't read any books and absorb the information. I didn't actually made it through high school without reading a single novel completely. I don't know how I managed that. I mean, my English grades were terrible, actually. But I went through speech class. They did a really good job at getting rid of my Chinese accent, as you can probably tell. Another problem that happened was, you know, like with virtually every kid nowadays, is I had a problem with ADHD. You know, my attention was very difficult to get focused. You know, I would like to go here, go there. I would have a lot of energy and things like that, and it was really terrible. I even failed a math class. And if you can imagine a Chinese kid failing a math class, that's unheard of, isn't it? Yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, because I was so bored in class because the teacher was moving so slow, I was like, I already know everything. So the entire aspect of it, and with ADHD, fortunately my parents, you know, when we immigrated here, we opened a restaurant. We didn't have enough money for them to send me to a psychiatrist to control my problem. So I actually used that as, to turn that into my greatest asset. So now I think of it as this way: ADHD is not a problem. It's a tool that can be harnessed if you know how to do it right.
Right.
Because I can pay attention to more things than my peers. I talked to somebody who grew up in my generation, and they're like, they're singularly focused. I'm like, oh yeah, you know, I could go 100 miles per hour, and then they'd be like, you know, putzing around. So I consider that my greatest asset, because we didn't have to medicate me. I had to learn how to turn that into an advantage to get through life.
It's the best thing that could happen.
That's right.
Absolutely. Yeah. So because of my problem, I love video games, because that's a great way for me to focus my attention. And as we know, all kids now love video games, right? There's not a kid out there who doesn't love video games. Which led me into the sphere of digital learning, because I had a passion to really want to make a change, because the system didn't work for me, because I was bored in class. So, you know, reflecting on the kids nowadays, like, you know, the system built in one way, it didn't work for me, and still it's not working for a majority of our kids out there. So we wanted to build something that makes it work. All right, I just said that. All right, so because the kids nowadays, they want information at their fingertips, just like this.
Okay, we're going to stick this in here, and then I'm going to pour in the milk. I hope this works, because I didn't bring a change of pants.
Look, I googled it. It's a fake picture. That's it. No cake for you. Anyone else want to join the no cake club?
Just kidding, boys and girls. Everyone gets cake.
I love Big Bang Theory. Big Bang Theory depends here. Oh yeah, just a bunch of like, you know, astrophysicists living their everyday lives, and it's accurate to a T. So when we look at, like, you know, the technology landscape, you know, we look at that in the past 5 years, it's really exciting. You know, there's been a boom in technology. Like, you know, it's like the new frontier. Like, there's so many companies entering into this sphere. And, you know, for us, we've actually been doing this for like over 5 years. So we're kind of like ahead of the curve. And now all these other people are coming in to the sphere because there's big money involved, I guess. But it's really exciting because it's going to spur education. It's going to make it all our lives easier. And like I said earlier to the comment lady with the Chromebook, you know, the competition will breed innovation. And really in education, we haven't had enough competition to really spur innovation for people to try to find space, because everyone wants to be the next Instagram, right? Or Facebook actually, yeah. So, but the thing is, when we look at the current landscape of the technology solutions out there, it only substitutes the current process, and there's really no change in pedagogy. Because what they do is they design these tools for teachers to use to make their lives easier, but they forget that their actual audience is the student. So we will look at the standard model of technology integration really closely here at KP. So, a lot of people aim at the top level. Let's just substitute with technology what we're currently doing. And that's it. So we're doing the same thing like, interactive whiteboards. Hey, I'm still writing on the whiteboard. Yay. A lot of people are stuck in that model. But when you get to the augmentation level, you start to change things. But really, nobody really focuses on modification and redefinition, which is where we want to be. And we are actually, which is like what we want education to be, is to redefine the way we do things in a whole new way, so that when the way you've been doing things, you realize, why was I doing that? It should have been done this way instead. So we look at this model, and it's a really great technology integration model that every educator should follow when they look at integrating technology in education. So substitution, and you can look at this up online, it's very common. It's SAMR, substitution, augmentation, modification, and redefinition. So you want to try to hit the M and the R. But everyone has to start with S, because we got to first figure out what we're doing with these technology tools, right? Like iPads, over-glorified email and web browsers, or particularly Angry Birds, don't forget about that. So like I said earlier, they're all teacher-centric, not student-centric. So we look at it as a way, we have to focus on the student, because they are our audience. They are our customers. They are the people who mean the most. If it doesn't work with the student, then what we're trying to do. So does technology replace teachers at all? One of the things that we look at technology is like, well, are our jobs in dire danger?
Emma.
So we look at technology this way, right?
Emma. 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 Emma.
I love videos that, like you can find it on YouTube, just search for funny toilet paper commercial. It's actually a commercial. So yeah, I mean, like what I mentioned earlier, everyone's trying to do everything digitally, but we still need paper and other tactile means. Tactile is still very important. Digital can replace a lot of things, and it could definitely make our lives a lot easier. So one of the lessons that we learned, is we understand that there is a direct relationship, correlation between content outcomes. A lot of people look at the end result like, is it the teacher? Is it the school system? Is it the student? But nobody really looks at the content. And we look at the content very closely here. So when people use our system, the content is analyzed just as thoroughly as the output, which is the student. So the biggest problem that we face is like, how do you get visual hands-on learners to learn book materials, right? How do we do that? And I want to point this out as like, KP was born out of CTE. We were born out of like a career tech education, because that's where we started. It was a tougher road than math or science, because math is formulaic and so is science, and you see that a lot of tech is in that sphere, because it's easy to design that. We're like, in CTE, we're all over the place, right? But the thing is, like, we're like an art form. Like, we're building trades, we're building crafts. We're building ways to express themselves. So we developed a digital curriculum and started to learn from that. And we learned that we need to break the information into like concepts rather than pages, like you would in a book, and provide instant feedback about how the students are performing in that. So we developed a system called the automatic remediation and mastery system, because we want them to remediate the content and master it through a process of learning. So we developed this digital tutor. This digital tutor actually personalizes every single student's interaction. So you can think of this tutor as like, let's say I'm your tutor and you're the student, and you're learning a block of information, and then you come to me and you ask me, okay, did I learn anything? And I'll say to you, well, here, let me ask you a few questions, a bunch of questions here, and I'm going to try to figure out, and that's what we're trying to do, is we're trying to figure out whether you actually know these little concepts, and I'm going to tell you whether you know this concept or not. And then you could go back and focus your time on the concepts that you don't know, where you don't have to waste any time on the concepts you do know. So the net result is that the students are more efficient in their learning because they know their target areas of study. Secondly, they also aren't bored with the information that they already know, because a lot of times we send them say, go read chapter 7 again. Well, I already know most of chapter 7. What areas do I not know? Well, figure it out, right? So targeted feedback is very important, and personalized learning is also important as well. And with technology, we're actually able to do that now, to create that differentiated instruction world, because every single person has a profile to be able to do it. So here's just like an image of like, here we have concepts, and we have a granular level. So to achieve that, we actually use some very high-level assessment algorithms. Because algorithms do a lot of really important things. So one's called item response theory and abundant assessments. Now, anybody here familiar with these two terms here? So basically what it is it's an ability to be able to derive intelligence from the questions that are asked and to figure out whether they know that information or not based on a large subset of information. So the reason I'm outlining this is because this is a fundamental framework that actually is automatically happened throughout the entire learning process. So that means that the students don't get repeat questions all the time. They get questions that are tailored to them. We incorporate Bloom's taxonomy, and we give them constructive criticism on what they really need to do to basically build their confidence. Because it's all about feedback. Now, when we think about feedback, we look at the world of video games. Video games are really great at giving us feedback, and rewards, actually. So this little image here that I'm showing you is kind of like the way that I see how we're transitioning kids from a different era into the current era. So if you look over there on your right, your left, you see iconic cartoon characters. So these iconic cartoon characters are like, the stuff that we grew up with, watching Mickey Mouse, Smurfs, and things like that. And we sit in front of the television and watch it. So what are we doing when we're sitting in front of the television? Yeah. We're passively watching the show. The show's being doled out to us. We're engaged in it. But the thing is, we love these characters, right? We grew up with these characters. We have emotional bonds with them. And we grow to love it. But the thing is, we're also learning that information is given to us through a television set. That's why video instruction is so popular. But the other thing is, we come to the classroom and sitting nicely in rows, and the teacher's expounding upon their information at you, and you're absorbing it. So we fast forward to 1980s when video games were invented. Then things changed. So over there on your right, you see iconic characters like Mario and Sonic the Hedgehog, Link from Legend of Zelda, and Metal Gear Solid from Solid Snake from Metal Gear Solid. I don't know if anybody plays this game. But the thing is, the difference is, instead of passively engaging a story that's being told to you, you're actively involved in the lives of these characters. You're making decisions on whether you pass a level or you die, whether you do really well or you do poorly. The thing is, the control is in the students' hands. So they come into the factory model of education, and they're being forced to passively absorb the information. They're like, I want to be active. I want to be in doing something. Where's my control? And we're taking that away from them. So the transition between the two makes a huge difference in how we're educating kids, because they're being trained by entertainment to do things this way. And we kind of need to follow that. So a YouTuber this summer, I've been speaking about this topic for 5 years now, but really succinctly put it together. This is a YouTuber that actually does really awesome education videos. called Vsauce, just like cute little snippets, and you should probably look them up if you haven't
In
seen
the
them.
1990s, Douglas Rushkoff coined the term screenagers to describe a generation that for the first time ever was growing up to think that images on screens weren't just something to passively stare at, but instead were something to be manipulated. Well, today, it's even more extreme. The tools and connectivity provided by the web allow us to think of images on screens not just as things to manipulate, but as things to project our own identities onto. Not everyone who does this is a professional storyteller, or acclaimed poet, or coherent. But content aside, hyperlinked webs of human expression are incredibly rich environments, and they exercise the brain. More so than this. Well, for the sake of argument, let's read from Everything Bad is Good for You, a book by Stephen Johnson. Now, in this passage, he imagines a world in which books were invented after video games and the World Wide Web. Kids everywhere are starting to read these newfangled books, and teachers and parents are concerned. He imagines they might say something like this. Perhaps the most dangerous property of these books is the fact that they follow a fixed linear path. You can't control their narratives in any fashion. You simply sit back and have the story dictated to you. For those of us raised on interactive narratives, this property may seem astonishing. Why would anyone want to embark on an adventure utterly choreographed by another person? But today's generation embarks on such adventures millions of times a day. Reading is not an active participatory process, it's a submissive one. The book readers of the younger generation are learning to follow the plot instead of learning to lead. Interesting. But you might be thinking, come on, Michael, you can't set content aside that easily.
All right, so I thought that was a really great illustration about what we're really facing, because it's a really flipped thought process. But yeah, isn't that cool? To really think about books as something that takes us hostage and being forced down a path. So because of that, gamification is an essential part of the learning strategy. And gamification, we don't want to make video games out of it. We don't want to make activities and fun things, but we want to take the cues of gamification, the motivational aspects, earning badges, collecting, getting points, leveling, achievements and things like that, and incorporate it as part of the learning process. Because getting that A is, well, getting an A, right? Well, yeah, getting a C. Maybe everyone just aspires to be a C. But hey, if I get a badge out of it, oh hell yeah, I'm gonna really want to do that. And that's one of the things that we've seen, because we've incorporated gamification in the system, and kids fight for it. I mean, it's silly, but that's because they're programmed to fight for it. To us it seems silly. It's like, why do you want that? Well, it doesn't make sense because it's not our generation that we're trying to teach. So with feedback, we got remediation, but also we want to change their behavior. We want to make them understand that we're not just teaching to test anymore. We want them to master their content. We want them to achieve to a higher level, not just an adequate level. We want them to absorb the information and really show for it, and also to build their confidence. Because with positive feedback and they actually see it in their profile that they know this information, if they go take a summative exam, because summative exams are still necessary, you've got to do a standardization across the board to be able to report to the government agencies, right? Yeah, we got to build their confidence, So the results here, is this is just a quick little illustration of feedback. So if I look at this, I can see, I did really well on those green areas on the right, the orange and red areas are areas that I need to focus on. I improved on those. I actually did worse on the other ones. So I kind of have that understanding of where I'm at, and that kind of that mental mapping has never been around. When you study, you don't know if you really know or not until you actually go take an exam or you talk to the teacher. But now this can all be automated, which is really awesome. And they can check their knowledge. We call it check their knowledge or check your knowledge, because we don't want to use the word test or quiz or assessment. It's all, this is just like getting to the next checkpoint on a video game. This is just your check, your knowledge. So one of the results that we've seen is that kids are 2 to 3 times faster on the learning. So for a lot of the teachers that we work with, they're like having to adjust, they're learning it faster. So what do I do? Well, have them do more stuff. You know, have them work on more projects. You know, because they're learning the content faster, it doesn't mean that you condense your time. You could like do more things and really enhance their class time, because you don't have to waste it on lecture anymore. You know, we follow the flip model really strongly here. Longer retention of information, because they're going through this remediation process. They're retaining more, and we've seen that like across the board. Like, you know, teachers have said, "Wow, I could talk about stuff like 2 weeks later, and they still remember it." 2 weeks, you know, a month later, 2 months later, you know, it's incredible. You know, and then engagement. Oh gosh, you know, because they have engagement. But you know, I want to point out that we're not the only ones developing adaptive technology. You know, Pearson has a really awesome system called Newton, which Newton sold for like, was that $80 million or something like that. But Wiley has like Orion. But the problem with those systems is they're closed. They have a closed ecosystem where you have to go through whatever they have there. And we don't believe in that. We believe in an open ecosystem where you have the tools to be able to gather data, pull information, add resources to it, and actually have it be part of the entire process. You can't customize anything that they put out. It's like, this is the way it is, so it's set in stone. So the next challenge here is we need to build artificial intelligence. We actually started building that because the way we follow artificial intelligence, if you look at Google very strongly, you know, the Google way. Google is a multi-billion-dollar company, one of the largest companies in the world. And they got there because they gathered data and they did something with it. They're data-driven. And the data makes it so that they could actually do some amazing things to make search much more flexible, to make maps, to make all these wonderful products that we all are accustomed to nowadays. And all of it stemmed from data. Because they focus on data of what people are doing, and they did something, and they made things that people didn't even realize they needed. So with data, I would like to kind of draw an analogy to Amazon or Netflix. Because you know how when you go to Amazon, you have like, you know, you log in and it tells you should look at these items, you should buy these items, people look like you do these things. That's because they're gathering data and they built a personal shopper for you. Which is really nice because I'm like, oh, I didn't know about that, I want to buy that. It's a really awesome thing because I didn't have to search for it. So what we're doing is with data, it's like we're doing that same thing with the personal digital tutor. It's like, hey, you know this information, you know, we're going to give this information to you, and then you can learn more from it. We want to personalize that whole entire aspect, so that, you know, your shopping experience is like that. But then, you know, it's like Big Brother. But Big Brother in this case is a good thing. So we can take that angle of like watching these students, gathering the data, and then making something really big. So we look at assessments very differently. You know, everyone thinks assessment is this is your test, your quiz, your hard grade data. But we look at it differently in the sense that like every single interaction with an online system, such as like when you log into Amazon, they track everything. Where your mouse click is, what you're doing, like, you know, comments, the search queries, everything. So we actually track up to anywhere between 200 to 300 assessment points of data for every single student. So that's actually incredible because from that data we could gather some things, some really great things. Because and that actually stemmed from like what Sean worked on, which was we think of students as sensors. You know, they're reporting data to us, and we want to see what these students are doing. And that information came, methodology actually came from NASA and nuclear power plants. And actually, we're going to do a Q&A, and so if anybody's curious about that, Sean can tell you about how that actually plays a role, because this is a different approach. Most people don't think of students as sensors, but they are. They're reporting information back to us. We're just not capturing it properly and doing something with it. So all in an effort to build a learning and behavioral profile. So we know how the students learn. And we want that information to be taken throughout the entire lifelong as they grow, adapt. You know, wouldn't that be really great information that where a student like walks in and the system already knows how they learn, so then we just kind of like, take them through the materials and get them to their objective much more efficiently. So what do we do with the data? Like I said earlier, we personalize the experience. We actually do content course correction. So like, we change the content according to how they're going, like the remediation process. So like, content that they already know is removed, the content they don't know is readdressed. We actually do comparative analysis between students to be able to figure out what makes the student achieve, and we want to try to figure out what can we do with the content to make it better as well. And the other cool thing is like, especially with like, like actually colleges more so than high school, is actually any post-secondary teachers in here? No? Okay. It's, we understand their behavior, so we can actually alert, like say, hey, this person needs to go see like guidance or something like that because their behavior is changing in a certain way that, they just need like a pat on the back or something like that just to get them to, and actually that could be used in the classroom as well. So big data analytics is a very key part. Anyone hear that term thrown around nowadays, big data? It's like one of those like big buzzwords, like all these like companies are mining. But we can do performance reports on the students and the content actually, so we can see if the content's effective as well as the student is effective. No one, how many times have you picked up the phone and you call Pearson and say, hey, page 87, this is ineffective? Have you ever done that before?
They don't take too kindly to it.
No. But hey, now we actually say, we can look at the data and say, hey, page 87 is ineffective. Students aren't engaged on it. They skip over it a lot. They fail on that page. So it's really awesome because we can actually improve content through this process as well. And the system gets smarter because it's content agnostic. So the cool thing is like, when we look at content, it's information. So the block of information is just a nodule or a space of data. And that space of data, we don't care what it is, that has information about it. And then as people use it, we gather data on that and really start to learn the content. So the content actually is learned as well as the student. So we learn about the content, we learn how the content works, and taking that approach really makes us stronger. So what about project-based learning? How do we incorporate project-based learning into this entire mix? So the elements of project-based learning is first we have to define the problem. So what is the problem that they need to solve? And then we need to give them content to master. So content, remember, is king. They have to have knowledge before they get into practice. Then they need to submit evidence. So the evidence can be in the form of like, grading with rubrics. They can, and also, but also you can do performance-based assessments as well. So all these assessments are put into this project because it's all about evidence. What kind of evidence can they submit? So, but the other motivating factor is they can earn a badge when they complete a project. So you complete this project, you get this badge. Awesome, right? And then you complete a series of projects and you get this master badge, even better. So micro-credentialing is actually a really motivating factor. But the other cool thing about micro-credentialing is that we're going to, actually it's going to tie into a larger picture where it's going to be meta-tagged throughout their life. So you can actually look at that badge and see where it came from, which institution it came from, and it actually has some value behind it because it's not just a badge, but there's a history behind it of that badge that really makes it. And then you think about, like, let's link this into your LinkedIn profile or your job application. Wouldn't that be awesome? Where like, the employer would be like, oh, you earned these badges at this institution, this school, that's cool, And then you go, this student, oh, he didn't get any badges because, but the thing is, it's just or he was in a system that didn't report badges. Wouldn't you like that information if you were hiring somebody, you had this like history that you could like kind of tap into. So with the data, with project-based learning, we track the evidence because it's something that can be tracked and can be assessed and put into their profile. So to basically provide a pathway to evidence. So you earn a certificate, like a lot of people do certificate programs. That just means you pass the test. But if you have a certificate with all this extra credentialing behind it, that just makes you so much more powerful. Then, so like I said, it substantiates the earned certificate, but also builds a world-rounded profile. So you have all this knowledge, in your profile. Now you have all this practice in your profile as well. So these badges, this evidence. So you have knowledge and practice to build this personal profile that can be taken into the larger picture. So I want to conclude with the future of unlimited possibility. Actually, what am I doing at the time? 10:40. What time are we supposed to end here? 11? Oh, cool. I'm right on time. See, because I want to reserve like the questions and talking. So, but the future that we see here is there's unlimited possibilities in the future. You know, think about this. You know, this is something that actually we're currently striving and working on is adaptive content. Now, what does adaptive content mean? Well, you know, when you give content, it's static. It's in a format that's fixed. But then let's make it adaptive. How do we do that? Well, if you were to adapt content to a student, you would build an IEP. So you would start pulling things together that would fit that student. But let's say let's take it to the next level. Let's look at multimodality learning. Basically, what that signifies is content usually exists in the form of 1 or 2 static forms: book, lecture, right? Sometimes video. But now let's break it all into little components. So you have reading, you have lecture, you have video snippets, you have all these different hands-on activities, you have audio, all these different snippets. Okay, some students love reading. They hate watching lecture. But usually you only give them one form or another. What we believe in is we give them a buffet of choices in education. So if some people can only watch 2-minute video segments, then we give them that, they can learn from that. But some people can't learn from that. They want to read and have audio. They want to do hands-on only. There's so many choices. So whenever you go to a buffet, how many times do you get the same exact thing every time? And your neighbor, do they get the same exact thing every time? No, never. So we give them a buffet of choices. Sometimes you might go into another class and you say, I learn better this way. So imagine that a student were to log in and we learn from them, and we learn that they like the short videos first. So we put that content up there as primary. Then they did a really good activity. So then we kind of shuffle them down to the hands-on activity. And then then we still have the ancillary information that they can learn from. We don't just give them one choice, we give them all. And that's the future that we're trying to build towards. Personalized instruction, personalized content, personalized tracking, everything can be personalized. Just like how you kind of browse your Amazon account right now. It's personalized, isn't it? Because it's what you like. And you'll be more apt to do it, right? So we're trying to build the lifelong learner profile. Because that's something that can be carried throughout all academia, for all subjects, cross-curricular. We want them to master understanding, project-based learning, digital badges, build a digital resume from their school to career and beyond. So what we're looking for is basically, I'll just be honest with you, the tool is an amazing tool. But it's something that requires effort to build. We have teachers in the school district, at least a dozen across the country, who have jumped in over the years and have built, we have a teacher who built an amazing music curriculum in our system. And her third and fourth graders are completely soaring for it. I mean, she has autistic kids that are just doing amazing things in it. So I want to take a moment here to answer any questions. We have if you have any questions about anything that I brought up, please do so. Because what we have is we have a tool that does all these amazing things. All we need is content and questions to be able to formulate that. And it doesn't really need to be something, it can be built very easily. Yes?
What's the status of the content at this point? How many people are using it? What are the types of classes that you're offering, that kind of stuff?
Well, we actually have 2 models currently. We have what we call our education partners. Basically, they're companies who believe in our technology and vision, and they put their content in our system. We have it currently in the hospitality education arena, in culinary arts, in food science and consumer sciences. We also have a partner who is actually with us here, Bud over here, with Paxton Patterson, who does a lot of hands-on project-based learning, and they put their content into KP Compass because they believe in that vision. and they cover like STEM, medical careers, construction, and things like that. So that's the content that's like what we say commercially available. We're not in every subject yet because we haven't gotten to that level, but we're starting to get there. And we also have content in like IC3 certification, hotel front desk, auto collision repair. We're starting to work on, and a few other projects. That's our commercial partners, actually, our education commercial partners, which basically say, hey, you know, instead of buying that textbook, you could buy this. It has all this technology behind it, and you can use it with your students. Now, for everyone else, we have this tool where teachers can assemble content. Like, let's say you already are a Googler. You Google things, you find things on YouTube, you go to wiki sites, you go to all these different things, and you basically start throwing down this information to your students, emailing it using Dropbox, maybe printing it out. So instead, let's wrap a layer of intelligence around it. Let's put that content into KP Compass, and then KP Compass will start learning that content and start to build and mold around it. And that's the beauty of it. It's like you don't have to craft the intelligence builds from that. And basically the tool will provide you the ways to be able to achieve that goal. So does that answer your question?
For the most part.
Yeah, so those are the only fields that we're in right now that's commercially available,
Sure.
but anything else can be posted.
How do we utilize the system?
By getting an account.
Okay, can you show us?
Oh, yeah.
how you hooked up?
I could show you a little bit, but I don't want to, because when we get into the account aspect, it'll be more personalized, so we'll walk you through various aspects of it through a guide. Yes, your question.
Oh, I was just gonna say that, I'm with Family and Consumer Sciences, and I started with Nye a long time ago, when you first started, or whenever it was, on the culinary part, and he adapts it so much. I mean, it's unbelievable what kids can do with it, and I'm so impressed. And I'm also with FCCLA, and we are looking at a future with him.
Yes.
We're looking at a future with him helping us with our Leadership Academy, because that's been bogged down by paperwork and trying to track it and trying to track kids, and we can't do that for our 200,000 whatever members across the United States. And when we get this process going with Nye, he's allowing us to put in the content and to do that part of it, and so he's working directly with our programs people, and we will eventually have that so that the kids can take that Leadership Academy on their own, and they will get those badges and all that type of thing. We're super excited about it. I mean, it's just something that pretty much he's adaptable to whatever. I mean, what I found is that if you need it, he creates it. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I forgot to mention, FCCLA is our new partner, but it's not commercially available, it's within their own organization.
Right.
But it's gonna really do amazing things.
It's gonna really help us a lot.
Yeah. And I'm really excited about that.
Yeah.
So yeah, in that sense, like, you know, the beauty of it is like, you know, they have content already, but it's kind of like on the web and scattered, and we're gonna kind of bring it all together into this umbrella that will help.
And kid friendly.
And kid friendly,
Which,
yeah.
so much better.
Yeah, so basically, you know, actually I didn't even get a chance to show the robot that levels up in the presentation. Chromie, yeah, which actually is a huge motivating factor for a lot of our students. Actually, I had a teacher come up to me yesterday and said, because we did like kind of like a changeover to a new format, and like we moved Chromie from one section to another section, and her autistic kid was going crazy, like, where's Chromie? Where's we call this robot Chromie, you know, because it actually travels the world, and it's really cute. So like, you know, and there's kids who are like really fall in love with this robot here. Let's see here. Here's Chromie in San Francisco, actually. Here it is in the San Francisco's game. So yeah, any other questions about learning theory, adaptive learning? What?
I have a comment.
Yes.
When we were starting to work with them, they were talking about all these formative assessments and immediate feedback, and it's just sound education theory, makes perfect sense to us. As we implement, this is our first year of implementing it, over 100 new labs went out. There was a day when the immediate reporting of feedback didn't occur. We had like 30 calls from teachers, and they said, my kids are driving me nuts. They want to know exactly how they're doing. I mean, so I was so glad that we had that little bitty glitch Because in my mind, it went, wow, they love this stuff. And they're up at the teacher's desk. Show me on the teacher console, because they immediately go, oh, it's on the teacher console, but who wants to have 30 kids standing up there showing what they're doing? It was fabulous.
That's the other piece. As the instructor, you can see everybody and you can see where they're at, what they're doing, what they're answering. And it blew my kids away when they were getting different questions.
Yeah.
Because he didn't get that same question. How come you didn't get that same question? It's like he already knew that and you didn't. And so it is extremely personal. And it points the kids out right away. The ones that are kind of not taking it seriously will get all of the questions.
Yeah, and just to speak to the question selection, we actually build intelligence, so we actually know which questions are considered easy because most students get it right. So we actually know that. So so if I'm a tutor and I've asked this question to 1,000 people, I know whether it's going to be effective or not. And that's part of the item response theory data tracking that we do. Because what it does is it's you know, we're not just going to say this is an easy question and just call it that for the rest of the eternity. If an easy question becomes a hard question, then it becomes a hard question because of data. So yes, your question.
Well, I know in Missouri, and I'm from Missouri, that we're going more to standard-based learning. So I can see this fitting exactly into what we're doing. But again, I work in a public school system, and so I'm wondering what the cost is.
Well, the cost, that's a good question.
Because my director and my superintendent will want it.
For individual teacher use, we're basically looking for pilot people to use it for free. So basically, you guys are a special batch. Once we go public, it won't be free, but you guys will probably be grandfathered into the yeah, you can use it for free. Now, let's say that your school district loves it, then we'll enter into like an enterprise solution agreement, because obviously if it's something that's really good and really useful, then you pay for it, right?
Will it still be cost effective?
Oh, yes. Yes, absolutely. Because our entire aim is to undercut all of the competitors because we have a superior product and we don't have massive overhead that Pearson has where they have to support all these CEOs and things like that. So, so the thing is we could actually do it for better, faster, cheaper than what everyone else does when we get to that stage.
Funding wise, Carl Perkins has paid for mine for the years that I've used it. I started with Naya as one of the trial people.
But you bought a product, and she wants to use the tool as something that she wants to use in the
I think I
classroom.
learn more about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And we scanned you on the way in, so that we'll send you an email saying, hey, are you interested? And you don't have to respond to that email if you don't want. Just ignore me. Yes. Go ahead.
Yes, I wanted to use this potentially for my audio and video technology curriculum, and I could assist with building content for that. If other teachers would be interested in that, so I'm teaching video broadcast. So I can see this being a really good tool to get my students engaged, and especially the project-based, it's all project-based. That's just a curriculum that lends itself to being project-based.
Yeah. So, so your question is, you want more people involved than just yourself, or?
No, I was saying I could.
Oh, you said you like it. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, that's really cool comment. Thank you. Any other questions? Okay. Yes, go ahead.
Quick question. So I'm a core teacher. I teach mathematics along with film, but I'm really interested in creating this as like a algebra-based content. And one problem that I come up with like most softwares is like it doesn't accept a lot of like math type or equation editor. All the things that have like.
Yeah, go ahead. Sean wants to answer.
We're probably going offline a bigger discussion about that.
Okay.
There are multiple ways to do it in our system. There are certain very advanced calculus equations. If you're going to get into high calculus or things that look high calculus, they get a little bit difficult. But no, there are multiple ways of doing it, even in other systems. I can give you some feedback on how to help alleviate some of those limitations of the internet.
So there are ways around those problems that we can definitely steer you towards.
Cool.
Yeah, and actually, being math, you have an abundance of resources online. And then, I would say, use Khan Academy videos, tap it into their system, and then build a mastery process around it. So
I make my own on education.
Oh, you make your own? Oh, yeah, use your own. Yeah, use your education ones. Although I would use Explain Everything.
But you like Explain Everything?
Yeah. Because it's $5, but you can do 10 times more things when I explain everything in education. Yeah, just check it out. Yeah. Very cool. Yeah, awesome. So who here is excited about the future of education?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, because like but the thing is like this isn't. We're not talking about 5 years from now. We're talking about now, except for the long-term adaptive curriculum part. That's like maybe 2 years from now. I don't know. Not making any promises, but the future is really exciting because the technology is already here. Commercial entities are already using it to track our shopping behavior, track our browsing behavior. Google is notorious for data tracking, but that's how they become better because they track this information to make themselves better to serve us, the consumers of that information, better. And for us, the consumers of this information is the students. Sorry, teachers, you're important too, but really our audience is the students. So if there aren't any other questions or comments, then I'd like to thank you all for coming to my session here about the future of education and adaptive curriculum with project-based learning. If you want to see a little bit more of it, you're welcome to stop, to come see me now. Actually, so I also have a booth downstairs at row 300 where I could actually show you more of like, how the projects are laid out, how the, how people earn badges, how you can incorporate certain things. So, so come see me and, I'll be happy to show you some more things about it because this is a talk about like, the future and kind of a little show and tell. I'd love to show you more about this. So thank you so much, everybody, for coming. And don't forget to tap your badge. You have this little electronic thing, Midjigger. You tap it against that little thing, and you're going to receive an email from ACTE with a survey, which will then ask you whether you liked the session or not, what you liked about it, what you didn't like about it, and it's completely anonymous. Sure.
It's real easy to see nice booth. It's got red and black tiles.
Oh, yeah, and I have business cards up here. I forgot to pass on. Self-service.
I don't know. It's very much.
He did me. He did me.
This is a book that's on the screen. This is a teacher built that. And then, so basically, so basically, you can see on this So yes, we have school systems that are in that assessment. And then, it's also Yeah.
It's like school,
Yeah.
going to the force you to show it 3D.
Yeah, hey John, can you tell them what's the name of that music? Everything's
That's what we're
Actually, that's the same thing in Oregon, which they call it.
Are you still working with that kind of profit share approach?
No, Oregon is the one where I see what they call it.
Oh, okay.
The one where they do mastery levels.
Right.
Yeah, so they're called proficiency, right?
And also it says,
Yeah, so everything called
And nobody fix things for us.
this is going to the common core,
Yeah.
kind of following the horizontal.
Our new thing we're doing now is actually a lot of computers and things, they have to use it in the system.
Scan your card, you're gonna do
Oh,
that.
I already did it.
It's good for you to kind of turn on whatever works for them.